Hey guys, welcome back to Be Patient, Be Present, Be Joyful, the weekly audio blog by Ryan M. Stanley. That is me. Today we are here with episode number 14, the one and the four. Today's topic came to me after a conversation I had this past weekend with a good old friend of mine. He's not that old, I've just known him for quite a while. He's a very successful entrepreneur, and we ended up having one of those nights where we actually didn't get to connect until about 11:30 and ended up, out on the back porch just discussing life until about 2 a.m., 2:30. And the concept or the theme, I should say, of the conversation turned to be caring about what other people think. Truly, and how that has such an impact on so much of our lives. And lots of people out there talk about it. By no means is this a concept that I'm just thinking of myself. I've heard Gary Vaynerchuk talk a lot about it. The concept of worrying on any level what anyone else thinks about anything you do is immediately hindering you. You're immediately putting out judgment onto yourself based on somebody else's experience and expectations and perspective that, when it really comes down to it, have literally absolutely nothing to do with who you are, what your journey has been, and where you're going. And so typically this comes up a lot when you're talking to entrepreneurs, or in my case, talking to musicians and people trying to get out there and create their life. And it comes down to, don't care what the haters think. And that's absolutely true. When people are commenting with negativity or condescending, or just, I guess, not understanding where you're coming from, where you're going, what your life is about, their opinion really doesn't matter. If somebody has something you want and they share advice based on their experience, then that's one thing for you to heed and listen to and grow from if you see it as value. But to be genuinely concerned what someone else thinks at any given point is really just slowing you down. But most of the time when I'm hearing that, it's always about like, hey, don't care what other people think. You're not going to be good enough. You are, and which is absolutely true. But I think the more important stuff, and where the bigger growth really happens as individuals, is when it comes to people who we love and who aren't necessarily negative, but on some level we do or don't do things because we're afraid how they will think about us, whether they will like us, whether they be disappointed in us. And so there's a difference between being, concerned about others. You certainly don't want to take any actions that would harm someone mentally, physically, emotionally. But at the same time, if you're concerned about taking action in your life towards a path that you feel will serve your purpose, because on some level it might make someone else uncomfortable, or they might not see you as much, or they might not understand why you're doing what you're doing, or they might not, feel like you're spending enough time with them, or you're not who you used to be, or any of these things. That is literally has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And in every moment, there's an opportunity for them to either level up to where you are, if that's where they want to be, and if they don't want anything to do with you because of that. I think I'm taking this to an extreme level. I think a lot of the time, sometimes we have guilt in life. Oh, I wish I had behaved differently at a different time, or whatever. But all of that comes down to worrying what someone else thinks. If you've learned your lessons from your activities, from your life's experience, from what I'll call mistakes, though I don't really believe there are mistakes. I think there are lessons. If you've learned stuff from that and you're moving forward towards your path, then that's really what's important. In the grand scheme of things, is as long as you know what you want, and you know that the action that you're taking is bringing you towards that purpose, and again, that it doesn't really or in any way harm somebody else, then what someone else has to say about it is really none of your business. It's none of your business what someone else thinks of you. So, and really that comes down to the core of deciding what your purpose is, deciding who you want to be, reminding yourself of that every day. And when you can live on that, and at any point, and I think I've touched on this in previous episodes, you can ask yourself, is this moving me closer to my purpose? Or is this keeping me from my purpose? Is worrying what someone else is going to think if I do this, or don't go out tonight, or whatever it is that someone is having a challenge with you doing, is one or the other moving you towards your purpose? And it's an easy question for you to ask at any given point. And if you do, and you recognize that one or the other, whichever is serving your purpose, that's an easy way to go. So, I really just want to, in closing, remind you that you are in charge of your life. You are the author of your story, literally. You could tomorrow pick up and do whatever you want. There are consequences to our actions, but everything that you want is out there. And if you wanted to spend 15 to 20 hours a day working on something, you're going to get it sooner than later, in one way or another. And so to let other people's perspectives, opinions, feelings stop you from that, as opposed to, and by the way, again, I'm not saying that you should disregard anybody you love if they're communicating with you that your behavior is not serving them, but there's a way for you to say in an open, vulnerable way that, well, thank you for your perspective, and I appreciate it. Here's mine, and here's why I'm doing this. I'd love you to be along for the ride, and if you're not, that's okay too. And I'll spend time with you when that works. And they might say, well, that's selfish. And you might say, okay, well, that makes sense because this is myself and this is my life and this is my intentions and this is my purpose. And if I don't do it, nobody else is going to. And the more you start to do that, and the more you start to take ownership of your role in life as a person, as a parent, as a spouse, as a friend, and that means living the best life possible. And when you realize that this is your one shot, this is what you're doing in life. This is your opportunity to create the only existence that you have. Being worried about what someone else thinks about something you might have done yesterday, 10 years ago, doesn't matter. That's not serving you, and it's keeping you small. And it's keeping you from reaching who you are meant to be. So show up on purpose. Forget what everybody else thinks. Love them with all that you can, when you can. Be present with whomever you're with. I think that's also the key, for me anyway, from my experience. I don't necessarily, because I'm busy working on a lot of different things and doing a lot of different projects, I don't get to spend as much time as I used to with certain people. But when I do spend time with them, I am always very present and appreciating them for who they are and the relationship that I have with them. And so that's a big part of it as well. So as I've said in previous episodes, decide who you want to be and go be it. But you need to decide that every single day. Live on purpose. Forget what other people think. Share the love. Be you. And go forth and prosper. In the meantime, be patient, be present, be joyful. Good news, by the way, the book is moving along smoothly. Had a great conversation with an editor this week, and we're getting closer and closer to a release date. So I'll keep you guys in the loop. In the meantime, follow me on social. Insta is probably the best place to find me right now, but you can interact with me on Twitter and Facebook as well. Ryan Stanley. If you want to find any of these places, check it out at ryanstanley.com. Thanks for listening. And as always, please, perspectives, opinions, questions, concerns, thoughts, whatever you got, I would love to hear them. Thanks for being you. I'll see you next time. Well, I won't see you, but you'll hear me. Bye.